Danny's on deck with Evil Dead Chick. What's in store when you open the door? Step inside, my little ones. Bring your flashlight and good luck charms. Oh, and good luck charms. Oh. Might get dark. It might get scary. Maybe even a little insane. Crawl out from under the bed. Don't be afraid. Evil Dead Chick is here to entertain and thrill. Danny's on deck with Evil Dead Chick. Let's hang out till the sun comes up. Watching movies, Evil Dead Chick and the gang, funny, strange, hysterical, or just plain bang bad. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more. We got it all this weekend. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more. We got it all this weekend.
Howdy, gang. And I don't think anybody's in here right now, but I'm going to have to turn off my oven. So I will be right back. Sorry, gang. Had to step away. I trying to do two things at one time, trying to get a pre-recorded movie munchies done. Had to take my cupcakes out of the oven, and I just lost two people. I don't know. I really don't know if it's, if I'm really losing people or it's a StreamYard or YouTube issue. But if you're here for the Girls' Night Out watch along, you are in the right place. I would like to publicly apologize on here to Chris, who does the Crater Mania stream. I did not want to intersect with anybody else's stream. Unfortunately, sometimes that's going to happen. But my feelings won't be hurt if y'all want to go to Chris's stream, or you want to go to somebody else's stream that's having one. I just wanted to try out this time slot at 9:00 to see if it works better for people, if we have more people in here. Hey, Candace, I figured you'd be over in Chris's stream. Because I saw where he was having a stream. I was like, oh man, I hate to do that. I really, really do. Um, I did it for two reasons. One, I thought there might be more people, but I didn't want to take away from Chris or anybody else that might be doing a stream right now. Um, and the second reason was I thought I would have more time to do my movie munchies. But as you can see, I'm still a day late and a dollar short. I'm still working on the movie munchies, and the second half of it will have to be recorded after I am done with this. But I had to go run and take those cupcakes out of the oven, or they were going to burn to a crisp. All right, so we are going to soon get to Girls' Night Out. If you've never seen Girls' Night Out, don't feel bad. I didn't see Girls' Night Out for years and years and years. I didn't know it even existed, and it was a blind buy for me. I read the plot synopsis on wherever. Oh, you're watching both. Well, see, that works too. That works too. If you can multitask, yeah, I say, hey, go for it. Um, but whatever video site I was buying my movies from at that time, I saw Girls' Night Out, and I read the plot synopsis. I thought it sounds like an interesting little slasher. And I watched it, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Now, some people don't like Girls' Night Out. I've heard, my husband being one of them that says, I don't really care for this movie. But you guys and gals that voted, this one was your top vote for this Sunday. So I am here to please. I want to make sure that y'all get your votes in for the next one, March 8th and 9th. We got a three-way tie for for that Sunday. So please, people, get in there. You don't want me flipping a coin trying to decide between these. So let's get some more votes in there so we can break that three-way tie. So I don't have to flip a coin or, close my eyes and point to one or whatever. Because I don't think y'all want me to do that. I think y'all would rather choose out of the three. So you got a while to get your votes in, because I don't do watch alongs every weekend. I do them every other weekend. I do movie munchies once a month, but I was too wiped out to do the movie munchies last weekend. And so tried to cram it into this weekend, plus the soup and jallos. That I got the soup and jallos done, but I don't have it out yet. Candace got a sneak peek of what the soup looked like. So, when you're my friend and we talk to each other every day, you kind of get sneak peeks of a different thing. So we're going to get to the movie here in just a second, but I want to remind you guys and gals of some stuff that's coming up this coming week. We've got another Dick's Picks coming up on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be talking about a couple more Dick Randall produced films. Wednesday will be Cannon Fodder. Going to be talking about another Golden Globus era couple of films put out by Cannon Films during that Golden Globus era. So be sure to tune in for all of that. Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be another They're All Messed Up. And I'm going to be talking about the Fantastic Kills, or hopefully Fantastic Kills, and the next two movies I'm going to talk about for They're All Messed Up. And again, I'm going to be covering slasher films from 1970 to 1989. And if this proves to be a popular stream, I may go into the 90s with this. Friday, we'll have to see how things go. I know Candace has started back to school. We'll try to have a Friday Foolish. We'll try to finish up our David Lynch special. But just we'll just say tentative right now, because Candace is not only, school's back in session, but she's still dealing with the floods that hit her area here recently. So a lot of things going on. So we just have to say tentatively on the Friday Foolish right now. Won't be having any watch alongs this weekend, but then the following weekend will be y'all's choices. So again, make sure you get your votes in for those. And of course, there will be another Soup and Jallows. Won't be a movie munchies, won't be any watch alongs, but there will indeed be a Soup and Jallows. Hopefully for the weekend. So if you have, I have the Blu-ray. This is the Arrow Blu-ray that came out a few years ago. And I'm going to go ahead and get mine. Hold on here. I'm going to go ahead and get mine queued up here. This one's not very long either. It's an hour and 37 minutes and a few seconds. I'm going to get mine queued up to a good point. Not this Blu-ray where they said they tried to get the best elements for the film. Hopefully hopefully we'll start going into the film here soon so I can pause it at a good place. Good gracious. We sure have it on there a long time. There we go. All right. So again, I'm sorry I didn't do a good job of making sure that people had a copy to watch. If you have the Arrow release, cool, you can get queued up to where I am. It may be possible that it's on YouTube or Tubi or one of the other usual suspects. If you come in here later and need a timestamp, just, ask me. Or if you're in here now and you need a timestamp later to try to get synced more up with where I am, please let me know. If anybody wants to join me on here at any point in time, barring it being not just a few seconds before the movie ends, you are welcome to, as long as you can behave. And by behave, I mean don't abuse me or abuse anybody else, either on the stream with me or in the chat. Okay, please. That's all I ask. And don't be a troll. I'm not going to say anything if you're a troll. You'll just be gone. That's all I'll say about that. So I have got this, or my copy queued up, 49 seconds in. It says an Aries International Releasing Corp and Independent International Pictures Corp release. So I'm going to give you about a minute or two to get, if you're watching along with us tonight and want to get yours queued up. And while that's going on, I'm going to indeed see if Girls Night Out is on YouTube. It could possibly be on Amazon Prime too. Oh, for goodness sakes. Let's try that again. Well, you can buy or rent it on YouTube. There's my watch along thing. I see people have reviewed it. So it may be that you maybe have to rent it. That's probably going to be your best bet, would be to rent it. That would be the cheapest option. Let me just try one more avenue here. Steve tells me to always check IMDb, which works some of the time. Um, it looks like you can rent or buy it on Prime Video from $1.99. Let me just make sure that I don't find it somewhere else here. Looks like you can watch it on Daily Motion. Now, there are indeed commercials. Sorry about that if y'all heard that. I'm just trying to get this link here so I can put it in the chat in case, if all else fails, you can watch it on Daily Motion. And I don't know what's been going on with our internet. It's the wired internet and the wireless. I'm probably going to end up having to restart the modem. So I may be breaking up a little bit. I do apologize. It's been the last couple of days that it's been doing that. And so hopefully I won't have to remove myself completely from the studio and come back in. But if any of you guys and gals are watching along and I'm stuttering and it's just hard to follow and all that, then please let me know in the chat and I will try to fix it. So hopefully not without having to restart everything. So it went away now, but it doesn't look like I have anybody. So I think we'll go ahead and get started before it gets any later because it is 9:20. I had some technical difficulties. So we're going to go ahead and do the countdown and we're going to go ahead and get started with this. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play. And we are off and running. And if you are watching the Arrow release, like they said, they tried to get the best possible elements put together for this, but it is a little rough in spots. So just please take note of that. Laura Marie Taylor is on this with, I don't think she was married to him at this time, but the guy on here became her husband. He's the nerdy guy who's like the helps out with the basketball team. David Holbrook is on here. Hal Holbrook's on here. David Holbrook is his son. They are both in this film. This was also under the title The Scaremaker, which I think is a better title than Girls Night Out, but you know, I don't make those decisions. So we're opening on the Weston Hill Sanitarium. And we're going to find out more about this guy that's in the sanitarium. But me and Steve did a commentary for this a few years back. And we were like, what kind of mental hospital is this where the patients can call the head nurse and, you know, request things? It's like, I didn't think you could do that in a mental hospital. I usually thought you were drugged up or tied up or, you know, in straight jackets or whatever in a mental hospital. And we decided that maybe this was just an exclusive mental hospital. Because you see, Mr. Kavanaugh, and we're going to find out more who Mr. Kavanaugh is. She's like acting like she's front desk at a hotel or something. What can I get for you, Mr. Kavanaugh? It's like, and why does he have access to the front desk, like by a phone call? So there's just heavy breathing and stuff. And she acts like she's got an obscene phone call or something. And I don't know why that faucet is on. Like, that's not just dripping. That's a stream of water coming out there. So the head nurse is going to check on Mr. Kavanaugh. Oh no. Seems Mr. Kavanaugh did himself in there, folks. But Laura Marie Taylor was also in Friday the 13th Part 2 as well. And that's Carrie Glenn there is one of the cheerleaders, the blonde cheerleader there. And Carrie Glenn was in The Burning. And if you've got sharp ears, you will hear Tommy James and the Shondells singing in the background. Now, I don't know for a fact, but you cannot hear the song very clearly. So it leads me to believe that maybe they didn't have the rights to the song, but they just kind of wanted to sneak it in there. And one of the basketball players that you saw that's standing there beside the blonde, tall guy, that is James Carroll. And James Carroll was in He Knows You're Alone, playing Caitlin O'Haney's boyfriend, Phil, in that movie. The tall guy is it Mark McChesney? And I believe that I don't know what year he passed away, but he passed away at a young age. I believe he did pass away from AIDS related complications, though. The guy with the glasses there, the nerdy looking guy, that was to be Laura Marie Taylor's husband, and they are still married. And when I met her a few years back, I had her sign my Girls' Night Out DVD at the time. I only had a DVD, and that's why I'm holding on to it because she signed it for me. She showed me a picture of her and her husband together, and she said, "Yeah, we were both in this film together." And I knew that when I met her, but I really liked having that conversation with her. So I didn't want to say, "Hey, yeah, I already knew that," because she just seemed so happy to be talking about that. And you see David Holbrook there. You'll see him again. And again, that's Hal Holbrook's son. He was also in Creepshow 2. So we're going to find out that Maniac, that's not his real name, but that's a nickname they call him on the movie. That Maniac, his girlfriend, Leslie, just dumped him. And there is David Holbrook playing Pryor. And that bear suit that Benson has on is going to come into play here real shortly, because the killer is going to don that bear suit and put some kitchen knives in the paw, and it's going to be slashing through some of these co-eds here. And that's Julie Montgomery there beside Laura Marie Taylor. And she was in Revenge of the Nerds. Remember Julie Montgomery in Revenge of the Nerds? And we find out that Laura Marie Taylor's character of Sheila is not messing around with her first cousin, but I think it's like her second cousin. Benson is her second cousin. So they've been messing around. And I don't know about anybody else, but I like these characters in this movie for the most part. Now, David Holbrook's character of Pryor is not supposed to be a likable character, but most of these people I enjoy. They're not annoying. Um, they don't all have bad attitudes and stuff. So we also find out that the sorority girls are going to have a scavenger hunt. Bostwick. And two, I feel like that the shenanigans and stuff like that are going on at this particular college, this make believe college, are for the most part very innocent. And that's not always the case with stuff like this. More so with the comedies, it's a little more vulgar, but the horror films as well. So I see a little bit more of an innocence to this movie. I think these guys are funny. There's your typical off-color jokes and stuff in this. It's not all squeaky clean. Um, it's just, I think this time period was a more innocent time period. Now, people growing up during that time period probably didn't think so, but compared to now, I think it really is a innocent time. So we're seeing these, essentially these grave diggers who have been hired by Mr. Kavanaugh's sister, evidently, to bury him quickly and quietly. So this one guy, he says, "Well, where the hell have you been? I practically dug the whole grave here." But I guess this other guy had to go get Kavanaugh's body. So he just hung himself at the asylum, and then his sister says, "I need you to bury him." and somebody going to take them out. So somebody is very viciously attacking them with a shovel and essentially is going to bury them. And we can't see who it is because they're all dressed in black and everything. So now we're back to the college DJ, um, Charlie, and he is playing, some old music, some classic music, and there's Tanya Alda playing Barney in the cafeteria. But Charlie's going to be kind of giving out the clues for well, not kind of, but he's going to be giving out the clues for the scavenger hunt. We see Teddy is ordering, I guess, for everybody. I really like all the old music that the classic rock tunes that they played. So we're seeing that Laura Murray Taylor's character Sheila is evidently dating Pryor, but she's screwing around with Benson. But I still like the character of Sheila. I still think that she's, for the most part, she's a good person. She's just making a mistake here. So evidently Barney's new in the college cafeteria. They had a, a witch evidently last year. I don't think I've ever known anybody that could do what Maniac's getting ready to do here. Maybe there are some people that can do that, but I just haven't seen them. So there's Hal Holbrook playing Mike, the campus security guard, and he's evidently bought their dinner. And the Gamma House is having a Golden Oldies party, and you see that Lynn there, Julie Montgomery's character, is dressed up in her poodle skirt and stuff. And I don't know what what people would say, and that's a big ass up there. I don't know what people would say about two shirtless guys drinking and being that close to each other, um, and drinking Jack Daniels, I think. But still, yeah, this is a lot more innocent than movies nowadays. And again, this is not me being a prude. This is just me saying, things were a lot more innocent back then, although they may have not seemed to have been. Yeah, I really thought we'd have more people in here tonight if I had it later. Yeah, maybe it's nobody wants to hang out with me at all, which is okay. I guess I'll just sit here and watch this movie myself. Maybe they didn't expect me to change the time, but I did mention that I was going to change the time last night, but it threw people off guard. Or maybe they got other places to be. There's Bostwick again, or Marie Taylor's future husband there. I'm not sure if they're trying to cast suspicion on Bostwick there, but Bostwick never, to me, was, anybody that was a threat. But he did make the comment, girls shouldn't be out here late at night walking around. And there's another Tommy James and the Shondells song that's playing. Speaking of Tommy James and the Shondells, my mom used to play an 8 track of Tommy James and the Shondells, and I, be riding around in the car with her, and I remember, Crystal Blue Persuasion and Crimson and Clover and all those songs by Tommy James and the Shondells. So Maniac's going to very shortly here see his ex girlfriend Leslie with another guy. It's right about here. I don't know, but Leslie seems like a little bit of a bitch. So we're hearing more about Mr. Kavanaugh, aka Dickie Kavanaugh now. It seems that Dickie Kavanaugh is the stuff of legends. We're going to find out that he was dating a cheerleader back in the day, and she basically screwed him over and wanted to go out with somebody else, and he lost it and killed her during the scavenger hunt during that particular year, and he got sent to Weston Hills. So we're soon going to wonder, you know, did he die? Did he really hang himself? Or is there something else going on? Has Dickie come back to kill people again? So this guy's saying, Dickie Kavanaugh did flip out, but it didn't have anything to do with the bear ritual. And he got hung up on some cheerleader, which is, essentially what happened, and he killed her. And that girl was Mike, the security guard's daughter. And I think the dark headed guy there, I think he's in a movie called Edge of the Axe. Oh, that's okay, Candace. I'm glad you're back. We've had I've seen people come in here, but nobody's been really chatting, and um, I don't know if they're not interested in the movie or what. But that's okay that she had to take care of stuff. Every once in a while I have to, step out of here, and these are my watch alongs. Um, but Girls Night Out, I think Girls Night Out, like I said before, is a fun little slasher film. Now, things are going to get crude here because Benson is in the bear suit and he's humping Carrie Glenn's character there. So they're saying, what Dickie Kavanaugh did, it didn't have anything to do with the bear, and Hell Week did it. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. And we're going to find out that Teddy, he says he loves Lynn, his cheerleader girlfriend, but he's got wandering eyes, folks. And he's got his eyes set on Don Sorensen here. And I do like it though that Dawn kind of shoves him off. She doesn't care that he's captain of the basketball team. She could care less, and she point blank told him. And she says she's got a boyfriend, uh, Bud Remington, and evidently Bud is. I would guess, part of the Remington as far as guns. But uh, I may be wrong on that, but he's part of the New York Remingtons, evidently, as far as this movie's concerned. And Teddy makes the joke that one of the companies that they own must be a distillery by the looks of him because he's passed out. So evidently they're playing a little game of strip poker here. I think this scene is funny because, like I said, I don't think Laura Marie Taylor and the guy next to her were married yet. The guy playing Bostwick, Ralph Bostwick. But it's just funny because he's right there, and then she's making out with the guy that plays Benson here. And uh, David Holbrook, his character, Pryor, Mike Pryor, is standing in the background looking at them, and they, basically they could care less. They're going at it like crazy. And basically, the shit's getting ready to hit the fan here. So Pryor's, confronting Sheila about the whole uh, Benson thing. And she's like, she's trying to shove it off and saying, don't start now. And he's, saying, I'm not letting that creep take you away from me. And she's like, really, damn, Pryor, you don't own me, being your typical liberated woman. So he's going to forcefully try to take her, and she slaps him, and everybody's looking, and he calls her a bitch. So this casts suspicion on Pryor because he's saying, y'all are all a bunch of whores, I won't forget this. To which Sheila starts crying, and Benson comes to her rescue. So Teddy's just been caught by Lynn, and he tries to tell her it's his cousin. Now it's picture time. So Charlie's letting everybody know that a little bit later they're going to be doing the scavenger hunt. So we're soon going to see. Remember when I said the bear costume was going to come into play as far as the killer? Well, who's in possession of the bear costume? Well, Benson is. Um, so we're gonna shortly see what happens here. There's a knock at the door, and he says, "Yeah," just like somebody's just gonna come in. But maybe back in those days, people usually would. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was somebody else, at the dorm or something. There's a bear costume. And it's obviously somebody he knows, and they stab him to death. And I think they're going to take his bear costume. Yeah. Sorry, but I need this more than you do. And Lynn is visibly angry. Uh, I wouldn't even be in bed with the guy. She's like, well, try harder next time. And she's like, meet my cousin. What crap. So she knows he was lying. But she wants to blame it on being him being drunk. But we're going to see in a later scene, he's not drunk and he's still going to go after Don Sorensen. Candace, you say you just realized that you weren't synced with the live and it started in the middle of your stream. But this movie sounds like a fun watch. A man in a bear costume going around. Well, yeah, he does do that before the killer gets a hold of the bear costume. Yeah, I mean, I think you would have a lot of fun with this one, Candace. Um, if you wanted to watch part of it, it is on Daily Motion, and you can watch it for free. Now, I had a link in the chat. I can probably put it back in here for you in case you wanted to, in case you wanted to watch along, but you don't have to. I think there will be commercials on Daily Motion, but it wouldn't be too hard, I don't think, to get synced back up with me. And so Teddy did the typical man thing by farting under the covers. My husband has done that. So I just think that's just a man thing. They think that's hilarious when they do that. So now he's trying to scare Lynn. He says he hears something outside. How many times have we heard that, girls? But I don't know. She's a little dense that she just seems to forget that he was headed towards screwing around with another girl, and she's just like nothing ever happened. Okay, sorry, gang. Candace, while you're in here, I was working on the movie Munchies, and it's going to have to be uh, recorded in two parts. So I'm still going to be working on it later. Um, okay, Candace, you're on your phone now, so you'll have to watch it later. Yeah, Chris may have it. You're enjoying me describing it. Okay, well, maybe I'm doing something right. So somebody is going to get the notes for the scavenger hunt because we're going to figure out that they want to be hiding out where these sorority girls are going to look for the items that are described in the clues. Well, Candace, I hope the movie Munchies turns out right, because I was having a few technical issues at the beginning with the connection and stuff like that. So I hope it turns out okay. There's Hal Holbrook again. I love Hal Holbrook. I mean, I don't care what he's in or what part he has. Um, and he's acting in a scene with his son there. So he's again telling the story about his daughter being killed by Dickie Kavanaugh during the scavenger hunt years ago. So they're making jokes, the sorority girls are, about, what the hidden things might be. And I'll tell you one thing, Laura Marie Taylor's hair, like, they must have filmed this at different times because her hair is radically different in this scene than it was a couple of scenes before. So Leslie's telling Lynn she needs to keep an eye on Teddy. And there's Britannia Alda playing Barney again. I really like the character of Barney for Britannia Alda. It sadly, I've noticed through several movies that they don't give Britannia Alda enough to do. Um, they mainly, like in Amityville 2, they just basically had her react to certain things, you know, and it was kind of overacting. Um, and in other things she's in, it just seemed like she was a bit player. And some people might consider her a bit player here, but she just has a lot more to do as the character of Barney. And it's going to expand a little more. I don't want to say too much till we get to that part. Candace, you did bring up an interesting thing that you're enjoying. To be honest, you said I'm enjoying you describing it. Um, I've never really had anybody tell me, hey, I'm enjoying you talk about the movie, even though I'm not watching the movie. That is the biggest turtleneck I've ever seen in my life on Don Sorensen there. Good Lord. And I don't know how Teddy got into the behind the mailboxes. So Don is telling Teddy, you're never going to get in the dorm because he's planning on coming and having a little private party with Dawn after she finishes studying, but her boyfriend's still around. And I love that skirt and fringe jacket and everything that Dawn's got on there. So we're back to Charlie Kaiser, the campus DJ, and he's telling how many items they got. Now the scavenger hunt is getting ready to be underway here. I think this was the chick that was dancing at the party earlier. Okay, so now we're seeing the killer has stolen Benson's bear suit and killed Benson. But now they're making a little bit of a modification. And this is, I mean, it's interesting to me. Um, I've never seen a killer exactly do this. Somehow they have made, you know, four steak knives, it looks like, into claws and have put them into the paw of the in the bear suit. And they made it where they can extend them. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. That's clever on the killer's part in this film. So we see two of the sorority girls here. They're smoking a joint before they go and look for some of the items. And hey, Steve, by the way, sorry, I missed your message earlier. Why, why Charlie Kaiser's got a pink bow tie on, I don't know. Well, see, and this was a day in the days before cell phones, so everybody pretty much has a cell phone now, and they can keep their eye on the time with that, or they have like a fitness watch, or Fitbit or something else. But we see one of the girls; they were going to synchronize their watches, and one of the girls doesn't have a watch. So Jane, the girl that didn't have a watch, is decided that she thinks she's found or knows where the first item is. Um, they the clue was where a vegetable might be tried, and she said a squash court. So she's decided to go to the gym while her friend, played by Carrot Glenn, is going to the dining hall. So, as many of us have seen a whole bunch of these movies, we know it's never a good idea to split up, right? So, she's found dental floss. So, the other part of the clue was I'm good for your gums. Oh, no. Okay. So, she's getting attacked. Poor Jane. She's not going to get to cash in on finding this item. So we're hearing the killer say, pay the price, you whore. Remember, Pryor's called all the girls whores at the party earlier. So here we're casting even more suspicion on Pryor. But that would probably be too easy, right? Because if it's too easy, that's usually not who the killer is. And we see another group of girls that's searching for one of the items. Now, guys and gals, I apologize for having to leave for a second, but I have to take a restroom break and I will be right back. Y'all, if y'all are watching the movie, please continue to watch and I will be right back. Okay, gang, I'm back. Lost a couple of people while I was gone, but so we're seeing that Jane's friend has come back and she can't find Jane. So I think she's going to call the sorority house to see if Jane maybe has come back to the sorority. So she's talking to Lynn. She says, Janie at the house. And Lynn's like, no, I thought she was with you. And, so she's a little worried. Now, a lot of people thought it was goofy, again, including Steve. Um, Not Steve that's in here, but Steve, my husband. Um, I thought it was goofy that the killer dressed in a bear suit. But, like, how many movies do you see where the killer in a slasher film kills people in a bear suit with steak knives as a claw? Um, I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was inventive. Yeah, the killer did a number on Janie there. And now they're going to get her. Carrie Glenn's character. So we're back to Dawn Sorensen in the bathtub in a bubble bath. Frankly, I think she looks too old to be a college student during this time period. I don't know how old she was. So we're seeing somebody climbing the stairs. And we're wondering, is this Teddy or is this the killer? Or is Teddy the killer? That would be a switch, wouldn't it? So another interesting thing about this movie, and she's going to get scared here in a second. Let's wait for that to happen, and then I'll talk about the interesting thing. And we see a black glove, but it's Teddy. Yeah. But the interesting thing that I don't see in a lot of other films like this is that we kind of have three different, you know, false scene or two different false endings and then a real ending to the film. And I don't normally see that, especially in some of these low budget slasher films. Because it's like one chapter ends and then we got another chapter, and then that chapter ends, and then you get the final chapter. Um, and I thought that was a little strange the first time I watched it, but succeeding times of watching this movie, I discovered that, hey, it's pretty cool because it's not your standard run of the mill slasher film that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? So we're about an hour into the film at this point. I mean, it really, the hour went by fast. Well, Dawn's got the good stuff, the good alcohol. She's got the wine there, folks. And all Teddy had was just a bottle of liquor. I don't know what's going on with Teddy's hair there, but a little weird. So Charlie's having people tell him that the clues are too hard. And he said, well, it wouldn't be any fun if the clues were easy, right? And I see Sammy's coming here. What are you doing, Sammy? You gotta go outside? Let me step away for just a second. I'm not gonna take myself out, but my two basset hounds had to go outside. Here's more of these guys, the comic relief. These guys in Bostwick, they're they're the comic relief. So Charlie is calling Mike, the security guard. He says he's getting some really strange calls at the station. Somebody's calling up and saying some really odd stuff. And he says there's something really creepy about it. So, of course, Sheila thinks that's Benson. That Benson is, dressed in a bear suit. He's followed her out there to the lodge. Um, but we know Benson's already dead. So we know as watchers of the films that that's not Benson. And we don't know if Sheila's going to find that out or it's going to be too late for her. It's not Benson, Sheila. She gonna start taking her clothes off. Not a good idea, Sheila. And she says, "Oh, come on, Benson. I know you're faster than that." And then, bam! There comes the arm through the window. Typical slasher movie stuff right there. And again, the killer saying, "You whore." And I get so mad at Teddy here because he says, "Dawn, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I just hope you like me a little bit." It's like, how many of you gals out there know guys like this? I know some. Not going to mention names, but I know some. And even though they're charming, they're charismatic, they're all that, you want to just scream, "You're an asshole for doing that stuff." So now McVeigh or Mike, he's getting calls. Said your daughter Patty wasn't a nice girl, and they're saying they're Dickie Kavanaugh, and he said you're locked away, and the voice says, "Am I?" And then the line's dead. I like that creepy aspect of the caller making calls, even if it's not a caller inside the house calling somebody, it's still creepy. And back in these days, in the early 80s, it was even creepier. The 70s, early 80s, all those years prior to almost everybody and their mother having a cell phone, that was creepy. And even Scream made the cell phone thing creepy because, in a way, the cell phones made or gave more mobility to a killer. They could be anywhere. They didn't have to be in a house using a corded phone. They could be standing right outside your door, outside your window. They could be in your house. I mean, they could be anywhere. Not trying to creep anybody out or anything, just saying. So they found a beech tree, and they're trying to find a groovy king on a beach. And they found the Carole King tapestry album. By the way, I love Carole King's music. I don't know how many of y'all watching this would have listened to Carole King, but her music's really good. So here, a couple of girls are splitting up again, and we've already established that is not a good thing to do. Don't split up. So Mike is calling the head of the mental hospital, and Mike's telling the guy, Dickie Kavanaugh just called me. And he says, hold on, Mike. Dickie Kavanaugh checked out of here 2 days ago. And he's like, what do you mean checked out? And he says he hung himself in his cell. Hold on a second, gang. Hopefully Zoe will get up here to come in the door here soon. 'Cause I don't like leaving her out in the cold. But Sammy evidently had enough. He was ready to come in. It got a lot warmer. It got around 50 degrees today. But so Leslie and Trish have split up, which I already established that that's not a good thing to do. I've seen enough of these horror and or slasher movies that if I was ever put in this situation, I'd be like, whoever I'm with, I'd be like, we are not splitting up. Well, see, Leslie, you shouldn't have split up from Trish. Oh boy. Sorry for all the noise, folks. We're getting about to the. Hold on just a second, folks. Sorry, gang. Hopefully, I won't keep having to leave. Oh, that dang Teddy. He's like, he did. He slept with Dawn, and now she's fell for him, unfortunately. And he's like, I gotta go, what these guys always do. So essentially, Teddy's saying, this was a one night stand. So Dawn, finishes it for him. She says, you had a terrific time, but now guilt's setting in. And then he has to throw that in there. I'd like to see you again. I mean, we could be friends. It's like, you just slept together, dude. Well, at least she tells him to lock the door behind him. And so now we got Lynn walking around by herself. Oh, and she sees the bear and she thinks it's Benson. Because what else would they think? It's got to be Benson, right? Well, they don't know what we know. So the caller is calling again and calling Charlie and said the twins are together again. And then they laugh. So you may be wondering at this point, what do they mean by the twins are together again? Well, we're gonna find that out here in just a few minutes. So Lynn, I think Lynn's looking for Sheila. Either she's looking for Sheila or she's looking for one of the items. Maybe a little bit of both. And instead, she finds a very mangled Leslie. And Lynn calls Mike. She's saying she's dead. She's dead. So this is going to be like the end of chapter 1. Okay. And remember when I said this kind of has 2 false endings and then a real ending? And I haven't really seen it done exactly in this way that it is done in this movie and any other movie that I've watched. So he calls Charlie and tells him, announce that the scavenger hunt is over and try not to get anybody in a panic, but tell them to go back to their rooms. So Charlie says, the scavenger hunt is over. Sorry, folks. And now the cops are coming to campus. So, the reason why I say this is like the end of chapter one is because this normally, if it was just any other run of the mill slasher film, this would be the ending, basically. The cops are on the scene. Perhaps the killer was revealed, but the killer hasn't been revealed right now. We're just getting little hints. Well, I'm assuming, though, that they've only found Leslie's body at this point. So they say just found another one by the pond. And I would figure that that is Sheila's body. And they're saying, well, the cops are saying we're going to have to restrict everybody to campus. Um, and Mike says the campus is too spread out. Question the people that you feel are important and let the rest of them go if they want to, because a lot of the parents are coming up to the college to get their kids. So they're questioning Lynn, and she's saying, I heard, a clue that I thought I knew where to find the item. And so she said she went to the chapel, and that's where she found Leslie. And then she said, I saw Benson in his costume before I walked in the chapel. And the cop's like, who's Benson? What costume? And she said, Benson, the bear is our mascot. And they want to know what kind of guy this Michael Benson is. And she's like, he's a nice guy, and he wouldn't do anything like this. And so they're thinking that they're going to have to question him, but they ain't going to be able to question Michael Benson. But Lynn's telling them where they can probably find him. So Mike's asking Charlie again, was there anything that you recognized about the voice? So Charlie tells Mike, hey, I've got it all on tape. I've got the voice on tape. So Mike's like, I got to listen to those tapes. You need to get those tapes together for me. So they're questioning Maniac now. And of course, he was the jilted lover of Leslie. So, of course, they're going to think that he might have possibly had something to do with it. And Maniac's saying, you know, um, got a prostitute and I went to a motel. So that's my alibi. And they said, well, weren't you dating Leslie? And he said, she dropped me. And they were like, didn't it bother you? He said, well, sure, it bothered me. Wouldn't it bother you? And he says, I know what y'all are thinking. You're thinking that she quit on me and I killed her. And now they're asking Bostwick about Sheila and Pryor having the argument at the party. So if you're watching along with this, remember when I said that Sheila's hair changes from scene to scene? So at the party, her hair seemed visibly longer. I mean, she had it up in like a bun, kind of. And then a couple of scenes later, it was real short and, didn't look like she could have put it up in a bun. I think I've seen way too many of these movies. When Steve always tells me I've seen way too many of them when I can pick out little flaws in them. Another question in prior. And he says, I was in love with Sheila and we dated for 2 years and she dumped me for that ass Benson. So they're telling Pryor to wait outside. I think the cops are still suspicious of him. Now we're seeing Dawn with Bud, her boyfriend, and she's hungry, but they can't go out because they've been told to stay in their rooms or their houses or whatever. And Bud wants to fool around, but she's just had a side order of Teddy Ratliff. She's not really wanting to have sex with Bud right now. She says, I don't feel like it. And he says, "Did you feel like it last night?" This guy looks dangerously crazy right now. And he said, "Did you feel like fooling around then?" She said, "No, I was studying." And he's like, I want to know who you were with last night. And she says, "I wasn't with anybody." But he's pretty sure she's lying. And we know as watchers of the movie that she's lying. And he said, somebody saw Teddy Ratliff around here. So he's going to force her out of their apartment or whatever. He says it's over. Like there's a killer on the loose, and this guy just pushes her out the door, and then he's going to cry. But it's very dangerous for anybody, especially a woman, to be out there now alone. So they found Michael Benson stabbed to death in his room. So, any doubt they had about Benson or any suspicions they had about Benson, they that's over with now. So Mike is listening to the tapes and he's trying to figure out, who the killer might be. And then he hears the twins are together again. There's that phrase again. And then we're back to Dawn, who doesn't know where to go. She's just out on campus by herself. Bud's an asshole. I mean, I know she messed around on him, but still, come on, have a heart, dude. This is something funny though about this movie. I mean, we could see somebody in the bushes, but she goes from 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds, and now she's screaming like somebody's already sliced off a limb on her. Yeah, TV dinners. I wouldn't want to eat that either. So who is Dawn going to call? Well, of course she's going to call Teddy. And she's like, Teddy, I have to come over to your house. And he's like, well, where are you? And she says, I'm at the student union. And Lynn is being extra understanding here. And Teddy's saying, just calm down. I'll be right there. And then he hears her scream. And then the voice says, if you want her, come and get her. And he says, "You call Mike." And he says, "Don't open the door for anybody except Maniac." So now Mike is reading his daughter Patty's diary, where she says, she's done with Dickie. She wants to date other people. Well, take a look at that picture, folks, of Dickie Kavanaugh. And he's reading the article and had forgotten that Katie Kavanaugh was Dickie's twin. Okay. So he's playing around. He's, got his pen there and he's drawing some long hair on the picture of Dickie. And if you've got a sharp eye, you will discover that Dickie with long hair looks very similar to somebody that we've seen a few times in this film. And we're getting down to the final few minutes of the film. Um, and Teddy is at the student union in the cafeteria area, and he's walking around with a flashlight trying to find Dawn. And those eyes look very familiar. Where have we seen those before? And we are in the cafeteria, folks. So somebody's crying, and it's Dawn, and she has evidently been slashed very badly. And it's Barney, otherwise known as Katie Kavanaugh, Dickie's twin sister. And she's talking in a man's voice. And this is always very creepy in films. And she says, "I'm not Katie, I'm Dickie. I'm Dickie Kavanaugh." She says, "And they're all bad. That's why I had to kill them. That's why I had to kill your Patty." So this always led me to believe that maybe Dickie didn't kill Patty anyway. Maybe his sister did. And Mike's saying, "Katie, you have to accept that Dickie is dead. He's gone." And then she comes back to herself and she says, "Why, Mike, what are you talking about? Dickie's not dead." And she said, "I just brought him home 2 days ago from the hospital myself." And again, Mike tells her, "Dickie is dead." And she's like, "Didn't I, Dickie?" And she's going to open up the freezer. I think this is a freezer. And we see Dickie with part of the bear suit on, and we hear her laughing. And we get that final shot of Dickie's corpse, which seems, a little bit alive, which is kind of creepy. And so, folks, we have officially reached the end of Girls' Night Out. I hope that you guys and gals that were able to watch along tonight enjoyed this. I enjoyed going back and revisiting it as I do a lot of these movies. I'm just sorry that I can't hit upon a time where a lot of people were able to come in here or that wish to come in here. I'm going to keep at it and see what happens. It may have just been because it was a Sunday night, and maybe a lot of other people have streams going on, and that's okay. I'm still trying to work things out. I'm going to let the credits run out as always, and then I'm going to get back to filming the second half of the movie Munchies, and I sure hope the other part recorded. I'm really, really hoping it did. So I will find out here in just a little bit. And if it did, then I will finish up. I'm probably only going to make one of the cakes, on camera and finish it up. There's no sense in y'all having to watch the whole thing. So, again, I want to thank everybody that stopped in. Candace, Steve, anybody else that was watching that maybe didn't jump in the chat. I want to thank anybody that will watch this on the replay. Again, I enjoyed going back and revisiting Girls' Night Out. It was fun. So make sure you get your votes in for the next couple of watch-along films that I will be doing March 8th and 9th. I may have both of them at 9 o'clock, and we'll see what happens with those. Got a bunch of programming coming up. The Dick's Picks, a Cannon Fodder, another They're All Messed Up. So be sure to check out all the programming I'm going to have coming up in the next week. And I guess since I don't see anybody in here right now, I'm going to call it a night and finish up that movie Munchies. So, gang, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday, folks, and I'll see everybody next time.